Good morning, everyone, and welcome to Art of Life Explorations with Angela Hardy. Today, we're talking to somebody really, really fascinating. If you've never met me before, my name is Angela Hardy. I'm a personal transformation specialist. I teach people how to love themselves, to have confidence and self-worth and self-esteem, to love their lives, to have emotional freedom and well-being. And apropos of that, I've been doing the series of interviews over COVID and beyond with people who also teach people how to hack their lives. They have wonderful tools and techniques and wonderful things that they do that can really add value to people's lives. Today, we're interviewing Anthea. She is the master of Kahuna, South Africa. She teaches Kahuna, she does Kahuna. Kahuna is such an interesting experience. I'd really love you guys to all experience it. I myself used to do massages for years and years and years. Kahuna isn't just a massage, people. There's something else going on here. It's a really, really deep healing treatment, and it is a hands-on massage therapy. I went and had one the other week. It is so beautiful. It is so unusual. It is so extraordinary. There is panting, there's huffing, there's puffing, there's flapping, there's all sorts of things going on, presumably to move the energy. I don't know exactly what's going on. Anthea is going to tell us all about that. But it's quite an interesting and exciting thing, and more than that, it is delicious. It is delicious and divine and wonderful. So welcome this morning, Anthea Hardwick, to speak to us about Kahuna.
Thank you, Angela. It's lovely to be here.
Such a pleasure to have you. So Anthea, first, before we start talking about Kahuna and what it is and whatnot, tell us about your personal journey. How did you get to this place where you're teaching it, where you're working with it every day? I know that when we work in the arts, the healing arts, generally we had a journey of our own that took us there. We needed something. We were looking for a solution for ourselves. Was that true for you also?
Very much so. So when I was very young, I hit a wall, so to speak. I was still at university in my last year of university, studying psychology. So already a fascination, an interest, part of me being drawn to a stream in life that would help me to help myself first and foremost, and very much to make a positive difference for others. And I developed something which not many people knew too much about, ME, chronic fatigue syndrome. My family, in terms of health and well-being and how to respond to a health crisis, was very mainstream, and I didn't know much beyond going to visit a doctor and a very traditional Western approach, only to find myself waking up. I certainly, in hindsight, know all of the things that led me to this breakthrough, transformational rite of passage through illness in my life. And it was the fact that it was unseen, unknown, it was viral, there was no medication that could help me. So it was very much visiting specialists who basically gave me this verdict at 21 that there was nothing they could do for me. I would live this way for the rest of my life. I would never exercise again. And at 21, I should pretty much get used to always being a dependent and not being able to live a full life. So for someone who in my body and in my energy at that time probably felt like an 80-year-old, it was quite a blow from people who had always given my trust in terms of my health as authorities on health and well-being. And this started my personal journey into alternatives from a place of desperation and really needing to open my mind and being so at a loss that I opened myself to start an exploration of alternative modalities that certainly 5 years before I would have poo-pooed. So it very much began with studying reflexology. It then took me very deeply into working with nutrition and and then into energy healing, Reiki, from that into massage, aromatherapy, and that is very much what led me. And I definitely believe that I was meant to, and it was part of my soul contract to reconnect with the ancient Hawaiian teachings. But certainly, once I found myself on a Kahuna transformational retreat, and that was in 1997, giving my age away here.
Yeah, back in the day before the Runda paste,
1997, I stepped into my first Kahuna circle, a complete novice in terms of this very deeply spiritual, I guess what some people would call a shamanic practice. As much as my teacher seemed so open and loving and normal, she didn't greet me in any strange outfit and that was really stepping into the most profound transformational process, which not only restored my health 100%, I subsequently went on to teach Nia dance for 14 years after being told I would never exercise again. And I have done well over 20,000 kahunas in the last 22 or so years. So a complete turnaround and an experience which left me riveted and left me with this deep calling to bring this work to other people who were suffering. And I was young. I certainly by no means was connected to my power. So I hadn't found my inner authority and my voice. And yet there was this impetus within me to make a positive difference. And as far as possible to begin sharing what had really been a life-changing experience through Kahuna bodywork myself, for me. It really first began as exploration. Sorry, Angela.
You were saying?
So it began as a personal exploration for my own.
Where did you do your first Kahuna training? This whole shamanic ritual that you did, where was it? Was it here in South Africa or was it in Hawaii?
No, it was actually in Australia with renowned. I'm so grateful and so privileged to have studied with Meta Sorensen, who I have the utmost respect for and is still working wonders. She has a retreat center in Australia still. So I was a great explorer, traveler, and have traveled to many different places, opened myself to many different experiences. And I think that Kahuna will speak to the adventurer. It will speak to someone seeking and with the sense of there is something more. There is something more to me. There is something more to life. And this becomes a quest of exploration. And Kahuna, I certainly was one of those people. So Australia was one of my adventures. I actually went to work on a dive yacht, and it feels somewhat serendipitous. A lot of people say that how Kahuna came into their lives was serendipity.
I think that's true of, those of us that are seeking all the time. We're looking for something. We're looking for either a solution to our emotional well-being or our physical well-being or both of those things. And it pops up in these weird places. Somebody tells you something and you just know, follow that path. And that's the beauty of the quiet mind, isn't it? When your mind is quiet and there's not too much chatter, when somebody says do this or when something pops up that's right for us, we just have this deep sense inside of us that says, yes, that's for me.
Absolutely. And along with that, yes, there may be trepidation, there may be resistance, it may not even be a resounding, loud yes, and yet something within you has the courage. I really feel it takes courage to live a connected, intuitive path of heart and following those spiritual prompts, which sometimes ask us to say yes to the unknown and to open ourselves to new experiences.
Yeah. I mean, I've always thought when people come and see me with the personal development stuff, there's always this little fear inside them that they're going to open the door and there's going to be this huge dragon inside. It's going to come out spitting and burning, and it's all going to be terribly scary and terribly, terribly big. And actually, the truth of the matter is, I find that they open the door and there's this little mouse inside going, "Oh, don't hurt me," because we're ourselves. You know what I mean? There's nothing to be afraid of in yourself. Just relax, you're okay. You know what I mean? What you're going to find is not something scary, it's not something terrible, it's something that is connected and beautiful and loving and gorgeous.
Absolutely. And it's almost through our conditioning. It's almost the change itself. It's the change itself that we are conditioned to feel, that we create this mental anxiety and this resistance to. Sometimes it's like you say, it's as simple as an exhale, an opening, and there is something incredibly, there's a gift. Yes, sometimes we do need to meet what we may fear and have named a dragon, but there's an exquisite gift there also.
So tell me about the treatment itself. I mean, it is such an extraordinary experience, particularly if you've been for massage and you're thinking, oh, I'm going for a massage. And then you arrive and then there's all of this whole setup and you're on the bed without a towel underneath because there's all this underbody work, which is so beautiful, where they take their arms and they put it all the way down through and underneath your body and they use the weight of your body to pull back on. And there's all sorts of walking around, and it's like this whole dance, and there's breathing, and there's puffing, and there's panting, and it's what's going on there? It's so fascinating.
Where do I begin? It's so rich. It's so rich and experiential.
Yeah.
And so it's really to paint a picture of, it's almost like describing to someone what it's like to eat chocolate or offering someone a piece of chocolate, but I'll do my best. Firstly, the work, the father, the creator, the brainchild of Kahuna is Abraham Kawai, a Kahuna from Hawaii. And the work originates from Abraham. It has a lot of elements of temple style, lomi lomi, and traditional Hawaiian lomi lomi. And the fact that it is so much more than a massage, it is a ritual, it is a transformational experience. We have got to a place where we are referring to it as Kahuna bodywork. It can be misleading, and it is a bodywork therapy. How it differs to normal massage is, as you were saying, with the huffing and puffing, the Hawaiian people really recognized the power of our breath, and in very simple terms, as a recognition of health, there was a sense of the more fully I am breathing, the more connected I am to life force, the more manifold, the more power, the more energized, the more alive I am. So we use our breath firstly to keep our energy optimal, to be a clear channel, to keep our energy flowing so that we can remain energized and manifold in this dynamic dance. We use our breath also to encourage the person on the table to breathe. So it may feel new for people, and it really is to encourage a letting go. And most people after the session, even if maybe for the first time, they need to get used to it. They need to surrender to what is this huffing and puffing around me. A lot of people will mention, as you were breathing out, I felt my body letting go. It was as if you were exhaling tension that I was holding in my body. So it becomes a very interconnected, very beautiful dance. So connection is very much part of the experience. And then another thing which is so beautifully unique, I'll say two more things and we'll see if you'd like me to continue or if you want to go elsewhere. Kahuna works so much with the beautiful and the powerful rhythm of hula, the sacred traditional, so much more than a dance. Once again, it was a way of conveying stories. It was a way of storytelling and passing on history. The Hawaiian people, before Westerners arrived, used the oral tradition. They used their chants. They used the hula to pass on traditions and as a way of marking celebrations and rites of passage. So the hula very much to come into and connect to your hara, which so many other modalities recognize this place of power, this place within us of connection to source. And so another beautiful way of explaining temple style Lomi Lomi and Kahuna is a dynamic dance of breath and life from the heart. So we are using this ebb and flow. Some people feel it like a wave, this ebb and flow, encompassing your whole body. Some people feel like it's like rocking a baby in a cradle. Other people have a sensation of dolphins. Some people, if there is deep transformation and very potent healing energy unlocking, feel, wow, it felt like snakes moving along my body. So we use flow in a very intentional way. And the third thing I wanted to mention, which is very unique to Kahuna as a body work, is yes, we are dancing, yes, we are using our breath. It is very unique in that it is working on the physical as well as on an energetic level. So the flow of the movement and the flow of the dance and the breath is allowing energy to unblock wherever there is blockage on a physical, on an energetic, on an emotional, psychological, spiritual level. This flow allows us, and the training that we undergo to hold space and to facilitate Kahuna, we go through our own process so that we learn how to read the body, so that we can have a sense for where those blockages are, and we can facilitate and guide and support people to release those blockages. So the flow is there to support the energetic work. And what is so unique for me is at the same time, you are receiving a very deep and a very effective massage, bodywork modality. So all of the benefits in terms of all of the different systems that are nourished, that are energized, that are aligned. We're working on the muscular, the skeletal. There's deep, very powerful joint releases. It is all-encompassing, and it is that wow factor. There is so much going on in one session. And very important to say, and it's the last thing I'll say in terms of the massage, is first and foremost, we honor the person on the table. So part of our mastery and our development into a Kahuna body worker is to meet each person where you are stepping in. So you will always feel safe. You will always feel honored. You're not going to have this experience that is too much for you or overwhelming, and you may hear someone had this powerful experience and think, that's not for me. I pull right back and I learn to be flexible, and I learn to meet this person. Where can I honor you? Where are you ready to start this dance with me? We are dancing together, and I'm facilitating, but I'm very much, we are dancing together. I'm not dancing you. So no two are ever alike, and they are always intuitively adapted to meet the person's particular needs that we are dancing with and working with.
It's from a client point of view, it is actually a very beautiful experience. I mean, I've done massage for years and years and years and years. And I've had many, many massages, some from very excellent therapists and some from not so excellent therapists. And it's so interesting to see the kids come out of these massage schools and they can put their hands on you and they can be technical, but they don't have the intentional work. They don't have the energetic capacity. They can't connect properly. And you know from the moment they put their hands on you, this isn't going to work out. And then you have a massage like a Kahuna with somebody who's so beautifully trained as Nicole, who I had the treatment with the other day. And she puts her hands on you and you can feel everything about her, understands everything about you in that moment. And that's the beauty of this kind of massage. It moves you, it moves the therapist, but your entire body mind is actually connected to this experience, which is really beautiful. It's not just, oh, let's go for a Swedish and get a good old rub in the back of my traps because they hurt. It's something much deeper than that. And certainly I had an energetic experience with Nicole. I had a lot of headaches going on the week before, and it's why I came actually for a treatment. And it didn't take long before that headache was completely gone. And after the treatment, I stopped having headaches. And so can you talk to me about some of the experiences that you've had with the healing and the transformation that some of your clients must have gone through? I mean, you must have had lots of really beautiful experiences like that. Will you tell us a few of those?
Absolutely. So many. It's such a privileged space to hold. And what I love about Kahuna is that diversity. So there are some people who come and they are really coming and treating it as psychotherapy, connecting to the emotional and the body and the innate intelligence, and really recognizing that the body stores memory. The body is the temple of the soul. So this is such a beautiful entry point. And once we can develop safety, it's such a beautiful place to start for people to open up and begin to go into wounding. One of the ones which always stands out for me, and most likely in that it was one of the first very profound experiences that I had as a novice. I had only done my level 1 and 2. I was already blown away in that I was so nervous to offer the work, and somehow people were arriving wanting it, and people would sit up, and I had done 2 levels of training, and every one of them would say, wow, my work hadn't even become that physically deep yet. And I had one such lady, Margaret, in Durban many moons ago. And she came and she lay on my table. And I started massaging, and I could really sense that there was a lot of blockage and there was a lot of emotion, and there was so much held in her legs in particular and the sides of her thighs. And every time my long leg stroke came up over the thighs, I had this feeling of, I could feel how much was being unearthed, and I was backing off and working lighter and lighter.
What did that feel like for you, just as curiosity? What did it feel like in your body or in your energetic experience?
I most likely felt a bit of nausea and trepidation. I had this feeling of, something is going to unearth. It was my intuition speaking to me. And as I've been trained to do, and as I train people to do to this day, is a follow-up the next day to see how people are doing. If you really start a process with people that can continue to bring people into new alignment for weeks after the session. And she was a high-powered businesswoman. And I contacted her, and her PA answered her phone. It was the days before cell phones. And she says to me, "What have you done to Margaret?" And she was very protective of Margaret. And she said, "She's got her head on the table. She's got a migraine. She's been vomiting." And it took a lot of courage. I was young. I said, "Please, will you put Margaret onto the phone?" Anyway, Margaret came on the phone, and I said, "Margaret, how are you?" And she said, "I don't know what you have done to me." That was her first thing. Yeah. I feel like I've been hit by a bus.
Yeah.
My gut, and what I to this day say to people, I said to her, "Fantastic.
Excellent.
Fantastic." I said, "Your body has responded so profoundly to the work. Do you realize how much your body, your clever body, has let go of in one session?" And drink a lot of water. If you feel you need more support through this process, come back tomorrow and let me support you through this detoxing process. But your body is letting go of what feels like lifetimes of resentment, where I often now read resentment is held in the body and what it looks and feels like. And the interesting thing was she became a client over 2 years, but after that experience, not that she came for weight loss, she went down 2 pant sizes.
Yeah.
It was such a profound, tangible demonstration in her body of that letting go of how much had been dammed up. And so it wasn't about weight loss. It was about her body dropping what no longer served her. And so she became protection, absolutely. And I was new in Durban, growing my practice. The number of people that she referred to me, so I still hear that story on trainings to demonstrate this is the power. This is what we have available to us through Kahuna. Treat it with respect and also be open to the possibility of real and lasting change through this work. That's one of the stories.
It's so exciting for me because I feel like, you know, in the Western world of medicine and psychology and healing, it's drugs or it's psychological talk therapy. And so many people struggle with talk therapy. They don't have the words, they can't find the words, they don't know what the story is, they don't know what the background is. And people don't realize that there's so much that the body can do without you having to consciously tap into it at all. It knows what it needs, it knows what it wants. It just has to find a little help from the outside to get the stimulus or the input or the energy shift or the change available to it, and it'll do the work.
Absolutely.
Tell us another one. I love these stories.
I love them too. Oh, which one will I pick? What stands out for me is when people, and they choose to. So in the beginning, I may encourage people. I may say to people, some of the physical, emotional, psychological issues that you have maybe taken decades to embody, to become embedded on a cellular level. And so as much as Kahuna is such an accelerated process to bring you back to openness, to bring you back to fluidity in your body. And there's an acceleration through the Kahuna. I still encourage people in the beginning to come for a couple of sessions. And then a lot of people come and they start to come and they see it as preventative health. So time and time again, I have clients. I used to massage a musician in Durban as well. And I have a current client in Johannesburg as well. Clients who at least once a year would develop a chest issue. Their chest was their weak area. Their chest was wherever they would, as soon as they were out of balance, that is where they would, they would develop something in their chest. And after, into the second year, this musician in Durban, he noticed, he said, I actually haven't had a chest issue this spring. He always used to get it in spring, and then he would be his busiest in November and December with shows and always stressed and needing to navigate with his chest. So I noticed that when people are coming, as much as for the pure deliciousness and to honor yourself, and they start to use it as preventative health. So once you are keeping your energy flowing and you are keeping yourself aligned, and you are also nurturing yourself with loving touch and self-care, then people are less prone to the way that their body in the past had to release. So sickness almost become their form of meditation and reset. And
your body will give you a fat slap if you don't listen, hey?
Absolutely.
Hey, I need some help. Hey, I need some help. Hey!
Yeah.
Help me or else.
Gentle nudge.
3 weeks. There you go. What for you?
And brilliant for frozen shoulders. I used to, for a long time, my work partner did something called network chiropractic. Nobody's doing it in South Africa anymore. And whenever he was stuck and struggling with people with frozen shoulders, I know how difficult with all other kinds of treatment. It's the one thing, once that shoulder is locked. And Kahuna within 2 or 3 sessions. And I have clients, one client who came to me with a right frozen shoulder, maybe took 3 or 4 sessions. Very interesting, then the left shoulder presented after we released the right shoulder. And she's been a client for almost 12 years, and her shoulders have never, ever frozen up again. So
I've heard of people with frozen shoulder that can spend 2 years trying to get rid of it.
Yeah.
Yeah, so 4 sessions is pretty good.
And I think like the work that you are doing and any work which is looking to the innate intelligence of the body and looking to working more on an energetic and cellular level, we're working at a causal level. So we're not only treating the symptom, which is normally once the body is so blocked and so diseased that it then presents a symptom. Yeah. So yes, we want to support people in managing that symptom, but we also get to what caused this emotional energy blockage in this part of your body in the first place. Let's bring your awareness here. Let's get you to breathe. Let's get you to connect. Let's unblock this area. And as soon as you're working from that place, that is when people can experience real and lasting change.
So what I love about the natural healing of the body is that it's designed to heal. It wants to heal. It's looking for a way to heal. But in my own experience, and I'm sure you've experienced this too with your clients, is that sometimes we just don't have the resources available to us. Sometimes we are so busy protecting ourselves from the world. We're so busy making sure that we get on and make money and collect the kids and, support the husband and whatever it is in life, that we don't take time, or we don't even know how to approach our own well-being. And this is why it's so valuable to have people around like Anthea, like me with the kinesiology, like the Reiki people, the reflexology people. Everybody has this amazing capacity to help to jumpstart your healing again. when there's something out of whack that you can't do for yourself. And I mean, I spent many, many years looking at my own stuff and trying to do my own thing. And I can honestly say that it was only when I started working with other people that I had a real fast forward in my own personal transformation work, energetically, physiologically, and mentally and emotionally. Because it's really hard for you from inside to do the healing yourself without some outside effect helping to make that shift so that the body can do its thing.
So true. And sometimes it is loving touch that we need, and we may be in a process, and all we need is to be held. And this is, as you used the word beauty, you said it's just so beautiful. And this for me is a very privileged space to hold for all people, from teenagers who come and are in a difficult transition and rite of passage and awkward, and to open and allow, to be vulnerable, to receive loving touch. So there is something in the Kahuna that really allows people to feel safe and to open and be more receptive than they normally would allow themselves to be. A lot of people comment on that after a session with me. So I'm not normally this comfortable. So there's something familiar. There's something in this connection and in breath. We are all connected through breath, and there's a feeling of, yes, this person doesn't know my unique story and isn't experiencing exactly what I experience, but somehow I feel that they are able to empathize. Somehow I feel that this is okay for me to bring this with them. And they're very...
You touched on something that I think is very important, and you can really only, there's very little place that we get that sense of unconditional loving touch, loving connection, holding. There's very few places that we can get it in our society, and we don't even get it from our partners. You know what I mean? It's like touch is, in our society, which is such a great pity to me, is considered to be a sexual thing.
Absolutely.
And so people don't touch, they don't hug, they don't look after each other. It's unusual to really just be held closely by somebody outside of that environment. And in a massage, you have that potential. And if you're just going for a massage with somebody who doesn't really do that, you're missing half the boat, really. Because it's that ability to get loving touch, like what I used to call, when I did massage, I used to call mother loving. You remember the mother loving when you were on your bed and you had your doodoo blanket? My mother used to rub my back as I was going to bed, and it was just like, oh, you can just relax, let her do her thing, and know you are comfortably held in a safe place. That's what a massage can really offer. How many adults get mother loving in any other way? We just don't.
Totally. And I believe these issues around intimacy, sexuality, us being sensual beings. It's a very sensual experience, Kahuna. The music, it's everything is to enhance a sense of it is safe, and it is also very beautiful and pleasurable to inhabit the body. We can so often associate the body, like you say, with pain or with only being used in a sexual way. And so for me, the beauty of it is to bring in a very honoring way that mother touch to a man, to touch the face in a way that maybe at some point his mother even felt, I don't know now if this is okay. Now, teenager.
Hey, Mom, stop that.
Either he does that or the mother starts to feel with all those hormones raging in the body, and also fathers with their sons, fathers with their daughters. It's so fraught. And so to, honoring safe way to start to decondition and allow people to have a healthy relationship with their bodies, with pleasure, with touch, with eating is a sensual experience. Being fully present in water, in nature, connection to life is a sensual experience. And so many of us miss out on that for fear, over concern, or injury around our sexuality and what is acceptable and what we actually feel safe for. So Kahuna I will work with a lot of people who have had boundaries and broken. So whether it's abuse, whether it's anything that didn't feel I was okay with that, or I gave permission for that left me feeling icky. They can be very subtle things. It doesn't need to be abuse per se, but anything which we framed as which brought a sense of shame or guilt around our innocence, our witness. I remember being 14, 15, and that sense of connection and individuating into my aliveness on this planet. And the vulnerability of these times. So when we can support people in meaningful ways with this kind of work, I look at my daughter and I'm very grateful that I have this resource that I can support her through this life transition and hopefully leave her coming out of it feeling safe in her body, feeling comfortable and ready to have healthy, juicy relationships with herself and with others.
Yeah. Well, that's what I've always believed is that we really need to learn to fall back in love with ourselves. Do you know what I mean? Like when you're a child, when you're young, when you're a baby, you're fascinated by your toes. They're the most wonderful thing you've ever seen. Oh, they're connected to my foot. That's so exciting. I'm just loving this. And oh, when I stuck my toe, it feels like this. And when I tickle my foot, it feels like this. And it's so wonderful. And yes, as adults, it's almost like, don't touch her, don't do that, don't touch that, don't look at this. And it's like, well, I spent so many years learning that my private parts are not for somebody else to touch, that it's almost as though my private parts are not for me to touch. You know what I mean? It's like you can be seen dead putting your hand on your breast in public. You know what I mean? It's my breast. I want to fall back and love my body. And I'm not going to say I'm going to walk around in public with my hands on my breast, but it's mine and it's my body. And there's no reason for me not to love this whole thing. And in terms of healing and in terms of well-being and in terms of emotional wellness, to fall back in love with ourselves it is the path. It is the only path to be unconditionally loving with ourselves. Even when I hurt, even when I'm sad, even when I'm mad, even when somebody else isn't loving me, even when I haven't succeeded or when I failed at something, even when my knee hurts or my foot hurts or I've got a cold or whatever's going on, I have this potential to be just really loving towards myself. And my personal opinion is that is the answer to the question of the meaning of life. The more love we can feel inside, the more love can overflow into the rest of the world. And we can have this beautiful experience all round and here. And Kahuna is really beautiful. A good massage, any really good massage has that aspect, that element of it. But I must say the Kahuna is it's a very flowing, very beautiful thing. So thank you for coming and sharing this with us today. Anthea's details are below, and she will get onto my Facebook page and put all of her details about how you can reach her and whatnot in the comment section below. You will find also all of my details in the comment section below. And for those of you who've never met me, that are Anthea's clients or are interested in Kahuna but have never met me, just to let you know that I do have a free weekly coaching session teaching people how to love themselves, to love their lives, to be emotionally free on a Saturday morning. It's called Angel Circle, and you're very welcome to join it. Invite your friends if you need any support, if you've got any emotional questions, if you're dealing or struggling with anything in your lives, or if you just want to learn to grow and be more open and more free and more loving in yourself, please come and join us at Angel Circle. Those details will be below. I've got lots of YouTube videos, lots of stuff about how kinesiology works, how you can work to help yourself, what you can do to help yourself to be more free, to be more happy in your life. And if you're looking to have somebody else do the work, Anthea's your gal. And Nicole, who works with Anthea, also does a beautiful job. She did my massage for me this week. I really encourage you to try this out, to just learn to be to let go and let somebody else hold for a moment that space, that body of yours, and take care of you. Is there anything that you would like somebody to know? Anything else that you have to comment on before we go, Anthea?
That we have amazing Kahuna body workers all over the country, all over Johannesburg. So please go to my website and drop us a message, and we can put you in touch with a Kahuna body worker in your area. There are 4 or 5 of us working from a low life center, so you can contact me directly if you'd like to come and experience it. And also, if you are intrigued about this journey of self-healing, self-discovery, and learning how to give and receive loving touch, the trainings are not only for people who would like to do this as a vocation. I'd say 50% of the people who come on our retreats are looking for self-empowerment, self-healing, and self-love. So have a look at the training information on the website as well.
Yeah, I must say that now that you mention that, in my own journey, I must say that learning how to be a really, really good massage therapist and be myself open and very loving and very holding of somebody else was a really, really big learning experience for me. And it really, really helped me in my own development personally. To be the therapist working with somebody else was really big for me. It was really wonderful. So I encourage you to do that. That is true. You don't have to be wanting to be a therapist in order to go on that training and to learn and to hold other people. You know what I mean? It's so beautiful to be holding somebody else. The great gift of humanity, that connection that we can have with somebody, isn't it?
Totally. There's so much healing that happens in the giving, and so many students and then body workers marvel at that. So as the more of a clear channel we become and the more you give, the more you open yourself to receive. And it will change your life. It will change your life in a very positive way.
I love it. Anthea, thank you so much for joining us today. Guys, find our details below if you're interested in more. If you want to check out Anthea's website, it's over here on the screen. If you want to check out my website, let me pop that up quickly, and you can see it. And we'll put our details below so you can come anytime. And please do comment and send us some messages. We'd love to hear from you. Have a beautiful day. Thanks, Anthea.
Aloha. Thank you.